Hello. This is literally the fourth time like having like the worst freaking Mercury retrograde luck ever. But I have confidence this time it's gonna work. Um, Holy shit. This is like I've done this like this intro or this like where I explain everything to you like so many times and then my computer just does something or like the recording stops. Anyways, whatever. Basically, what I explained in 4 minutes, I'm gonna explain in 30 seconds. You got really lucky. I was tired of doing the chronological order, new moon, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like choose two random people from my wait list. I'm just gonna do the readings. That's just what I'm gonna do because I decide. And you're one of them. The other person was someone who was, you obviously purchased very recently. The other person purchased a long time ago. Just hers was like coming up anyways. So you are the lucky chosen one. Sah-RA. So let me just verify. Okay. So yeah, and the other thing I said, and this is the fourth time I'm saying it, I tend to be off camera for most of the reading. I literally like to just go into meditation and just like become one with a chart. I like to like walk around my apartment. I just like to do tons of random stuff, and it kind of looks weird just going like that or like laying down or something. Not laying down because it's bad for the vocal part, but yeah. So anyways, I always pop my face in. It's very random. Sometimes my face is in it more. Sometimes it's just like mostly just kind of I just share the screen on your chart. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here we have your chart. Okay, the aspect grid. So yeah, very interesting. A double Libra, Sun and Moon in the 10th house, the house of Capricorn, and a Capricorn rising. So a very cardinal Capricornian chart. Let me sip on this really quick. Your chart is very, very good. But, like one really, really good thing about your chart is that regardless of whether you use whole signs, what I use, or plasters, what lots of other astrologers use, it's not going to change much because you're a 1 degree ascendant. So like if you went to a astrologer use plasters, like there'd be very like we probably use all the same houses. Maybe there'd be like slight like differences because houses are not equal and it's there's like intercepted houses and stuff in plasters, but yeah. So first things first is very obvious, Libra, sun and moon, you're born just after a new moon, which is interesting because I'm doing this. Yeah, like this is like literally like a Libra new moon, and yeah, it's like divine timing. No wonder you won that raffle thing. Not raffle, just like random thing. Because we just had that. Um, and basically, yeah. So I don't really like to go too far into sun sign. I kind of find it like trivial, but I do like to like speak about the signs in general. I mean, being someone who has sun and moon in the same house is like I said, it's karmically, it's relating to like new karmic beginnings. And it makes it so, your sun, your moon, the masculine and the feminine part of you are completely aligned. They're in the same, same sign, same house. They're separated by only 5 degrees. So, just how new moons are very much, you know, reinvigorating the start of a new cycle, that's kind of how it is for you on a karmic level. So, obviously when anyone talks about Libra, we can't not mention some of the issues that lots of Libras run into. Now, as a Cap rising, a lot will be easier, right? A lot will be easier. And even having your South Node in Taurus, meaning that you perfected the Taurus energy in past lives, will also make this easier. But there's this big thing around boundaries. Libra and people pleasing. Libra has a tendency to kind of put itself down, if you want to call it that, at the expense of, or just like they want to keep balance all the time, right? So when it's your moon, sometimes Libras put up with a bunch of shit that they're not supposed to put up with. And it's like, for example, like let's say they're in a toxic relationship, right? They might like allow themselves to be stepped over just because they don't want to disrupt the balance. Libra, everything in the Libra's life is around balance and finding kind of like a resolution. They're the diplomats. They're it's a sign that is very, very social, very they're the ones that people come to in conflict. And a high vibe Libra is someone who can resolve issues and see different perspectives. And Libra rules the seventh house, which is the house of relationships. So when you have a double Libra sun and moon, you have to really watch out for codependency, right? Your Venus is conjunct Jupiter. Okay, so, and where is it? So Venus is a very important, and it's conjunct your North Node. Wow, to the degree. Damn. And Pluto's close by 10 degrees, not that close. Jupiter is close by. That's beautiful. Wow, that's really, really good karma. So basically, like, your Venus in Scorpio, you have this massive Scorpio block of your chart. It becomes more important, right? Because it rules your sun and your moon. So with the just overall, you have to watch out for having relationships take over. I've had countless Libra clients, and there's always that similarity. And you're born in 94, okay? So they share they tend to always come to me, or not come to me, in the follow-up, and we'll talk about it. And it's something that they either have gotten over or that they're forced to get over. A lot of them, sometimes, the sun and moon Libra, there can be a tendency to, like, yeah, it's like there's lots of amazing things. I'm sure you like, that's I'm not gonna go into like the superficial astrology, like for me, like it's about growth. You know what I'm saying? So like I could tell you about how good Libra is at design, how artistic they are, how they want, how they have this amazing ability to see beauty in other people and other things, and brighten people's day. But like I'm sure you know that stuff. Like for me, I'm trying to talk about the karma and the big picture. So yeah, like codependency is a huge thing for so many Libras. And when I say codependency, I'm sure you know what I mean, but like the way I've experienced it with a lot of my Libra clients and people I know who have Libra is this kind of like this overemphasis on relationships. And the fact that Venus is ruled by the obsessive sign of Scorpio, it can make one very obsessed with relationships. And because Pluto's there, it is conjunct Jupiter, which is very, very in North Node. So it's like like already right off the bat, I can tell you that the life, like a huge, like in North Node and Scorpio relationships and the transformations that you go through them are I can already say this off the rip. That's like one, and I'll explain in more detail, obviously, but like that is like a huge part of your life purpose is like relationships. So when I say relationships, I mean romantic relationships. But I also mean like I've thought about this a lot, and I think like when you have like a BFF type relationship, I think it falls in that. I don't think, I know it falls in that category. So partnerships, close one-on-one partnerships, and when you add the Scorpio touch, it's like it's very sexual and very, very intimate and very passionate. So it kind of does speak about that. Now, this is the interesting thing, right? The dichotomy between Libra and Scorpio is that Libra doesn't want to rock the boat. As I said before, Libra prefers relationships that are fair, balanced, where there's not all this conflict and all this craziness. But then Scorpio Venus, which rules all these planets, is the opposite. Scorpio Venus people are dramatic. Typically, they tend to be dramatic. There's this great need for this. They're not always dramatic, okay? Maybe you're not, but like they can definitely be. And it's not that they necessarily like want to rock the boat on purpose, but they just have this massive passion, right? This real need for like real, like not just like the deepest. Scorpio Venus is the deepest form of intimacy possible. I mean, yeah, like Pisces Venus is like all beautiful, romantic, flowery, and all that, but it doesn't have that extra punch. So Scorpio Venus, that's why it's like it's not like it can be like most Scorpio placements, like the best of the best, or it can be the worst of the worst, right? That's why like I don't think you've been following me for that long, unless I'm incorrect, but basically like I do these random readings. I do these random posts sometimes where like I did one ranking moon signs, ranking my favorite, or no, not my favorite. I've done that, but I've also done like ranking like easiest to most difficult Venus signs. And the reason that Scorpio, it wasn't like super down the list, but it was like in the kind of in the middle. The reason it's not at the top is because it's very like it can be very difficult. And it comes from these deep feelings of just like they can get very attached very quickly, and almost there can be like a almost overwhelming energy, if that makes sense, that some people just can't handle, right? So it's very important. It's very, very important. But then, it's very important to understand that the whole point of you being a double Libra, making you a very relationship oriented person, is to learn about boundaries in relationships, and to learn to merge, with another person in a very beneficial way where you're not compromising your own integrity. And like whatever that sentence I just said is like extremely important. I'll let that sit in for a second while I sip on this kombucha. So remember, compromising your own integrity. What does that mean? Well, Libras, they tend to do that. And when you have that Venus in Scorpio, you're attracted to Scorpio energy. Venus is what you value in yourself and what you value in other people. It's also the reason that you're attracted to the esoteric and the occult and the mysteries of life, the secrets, the things, the hidden parts of life. It's very, very sexual, right? So it kind of like when you think of Venus as like a love language, it can create quite an intense love language. And now this is the very interesting part. So you see here on my cursor, Venus is conjunct the North Node and Jupiter. Now this is extremely important and fascinating. I've never seen this before. I'm just being honest. I've never seen this configuration. So whenever you have Venus, when you were born on a day when the two benefic planets, the two most positive planets, Venus and Jupiter, were in a conjunction with each other. And not only were they in a conjunction with that, and not only did it come, it was probably the day of a new moon. The North Node was there. So that was a very karmic time for society in 94 when that happened, right? It was probably a very, very, well, we'll see with all the aspects. You got Moon square Uranus and Pluto, or excuse me, Uranus and Neptune. So that's a lot more difficult. But and then Sun is unaspected. Damn. No, that can't be. It's because they don't use the orbs. It squares Neptune. I would, and maybe even the Uranus one is 10 degrees. I count that one loosely. Yeah, I'd count that one. 10 degrees for Sun. I'd count 10. Definitely the Neptune though. And then yeah, so not too many hard aspects. Nodes, no squares. Okay, so yeah, like besides, like there's definitely the moon. There's some stuff with the emotions that we'll talk about, but like besides that, this is extremely positive. And what it's saying is that like you have this side of you that can, I don't want to say like use the word pushover, but like just like archetypically, someone that's a double Libra can be. I've dated one, by the way. She was not a pushover at all. So yeah. And she also had her rising in Virgo, so very close to you. So you're definitely not a pushover, but like I've experienced other double Virgos who people please and who have a lot of trouble like kind of with authenticity and keeping it real. I imagine that that's not something for you, but I can also imagine like a big split. But before I talk about this split, I want to just explain that the North Node is the part of your chart that rules your destiny. It's like the mountain never climbed in past lives. That's the best way to think about it, right? It's like imagine you look all these past lives, and there's one sign, Taurus, that you've mastered. Stability, right? And do you have any Earth in your charts? Yeah, you're rising. Perfect. Wow, and you have every element, correct? Yeah, every element in your personal plans. Very good. So just imagine that. And then there's another one that you haven't. So karmically, as a karmic astrologer, there's reasons why we have the charts we have, karmic reasons. So in your case, it's related to the need to go deeper, the need to the need to dive deeper, right? Like within your life, because a Taurus South Node individual has become very, very comfortable in its apathic tendency, very happy, and there's this astrologer thing that people do that I don't like, where they demonize the South Node as it's like a bad thing. No, it's not a bad thing. It's something that you've mastered. So you want to use the South Node, that Taurus stability, ability to be consistent, ability to kind of show up as you on a consistent basis and have a firm set of values. You want to use that to get to your North Node goals. And in Scorpio, it's very, very relational, right? Especially the fact that it's in the 11th house of kind of humanity and friends, right? Like humanitarian goals like very like big time like life purpose goals, things of that nature. But the Scorpio part is, the karma North Node Scorpio is all about like allowing yourself to be vulnerable, allowing yourself to surrender, especially in the context of romantic relationships. Now, also, it's very but it's not just that. It's very deep. So, from the relationship standpoint, it's about vulnerability, right? It's about vulnerability and like the deepest form of kind of romance, right? And love. And like two souls becoming one and literally merging. Two souls merging. And basically on an I was gonna say like three different things at once. When you have Jupiter and Venus conjunct the North Node, that is the most like amazing karma for you meeting like I don't want to like gas you up, but like I'm just telling you like on one like on the romantic level, like if I saw if I had this in my own chart and I was like okay, first of all, I just have my doubts that you're someone who stays single for very long. I just have my doubts. And by the way, I have no idea what you look like. I mean, I make sure I don't look. I mean, I've maybe glanced at your like the little small photo in the messages, but I try my hardest not to glance at it for a reason because I don't want to know anything about the person. I don't want to get a false idea, but I never go on their Instagram ever until after the reading. Then I'll, check it out. But yeah, basically like like if I had this in my chart, I would be like, holy shit, I'm gonna have so much luck in terms of like the girls that I date and I meet. And that's what it is for you. Jupiter is about luck and expansion. So not only like through your so okay, first of all, I want to say all your love affairs are meant. Venus conjunct North Node are meant, and I have this too. I have Venus conjunct North Node too. So they're very, very karmic and fated, like extremely karmic and fated. Your love of everything related to love, and I know you know that. Like I can feel that you're like duh, like like everything like it's the most like you know this. So everything has an expiration date, everything has a starting date. I mean, there's different timelines, I'm not saying like free will doesn't exist in relationships. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that like there's some thing like it's a huge like you're meant to there's certain people that you're meant to meet at certain times. That's pretty much it. Um, those times can vary. I mean, when I say certain times, it's a complicated subject. I'm not gonna get into it. Like, but you're meant to meet them, and in your life especially with North Node conjunct Venus, and these people are meant to help you dive into your shadow, right? Which is like because in past lives with this like fifth house, you've been a very creative person. Like fifth house Leo, like Leo combined with Taurus, that's pure creativity, but you stuck to yourself a little bit. So this, these lover or these people that come into your life, which do I see a kite aspect? No, because there aren't luminaries here. Basically, I do see no. Um, they each have a very massive purpose, and that purpose is because imagine like the past like tendency, right? Like follow me here. Let's give an example. You're someone like Taurus South Node who pleasant past lives, but maybe they haven't taken spiritual, emotional, energetic risks enough. They've been too like my brother right now, where I'm like, dude, you need like your charts like you're asking like begging you to travel the world. You have money, you have everything lined up. Like you like why don't you want to like experience a new world, like see the world, it's like literally he could literally just like go for like as long as he wanted in anywhere in the world, and he doesn't do it. And yeah, he has like he doesn't even want to plan it. He's just not interested. It's fucking crazy to me. And his North Node's in the ninth house. So sometimes there's a lot of like you know difficulty to getting that North Node because there's lots of pushback, right? So Scorpio is death, rebirth, transformation. And when you go from Taurus to Scorpio, you do so in a way where it's like the snake shedding the skin, metaphorically, obviously. And Sah-RA, basically, like, that implies that you haven't been able to do this on your own, potentially. It doesn't necessarily for sure mean that, but for sure, it means that you haven't like taken on spiritual risks that are really going to help you, your soul grow. And what I mean by spiritual risks is I mean shadow work. So these romantic relationships, although they're very, very beautiful and romantic and filled with passion and learning and probably travel with Jupiter, and like you probably have like so much luck and optimism, there's still a level of intensity to them with a Scorpio, even if it's Venus. And the whole purpose, Sah-RA, is that it's meant to bring you in to your shadows so that you can do some shadow work that you've been putting off for prior lifetimes. Does that make sense? Because the Taurus South Node people tend to be happy with things staying the same. And we can even see how your Black Moon Lilith is conjunct the South Node. And that's a similar energy of, being like a tendency towards stubbornness, right? Towards not wanting to take those risks, right? And I would think, Black Moon Lilith, I'm not supposed to say that word. They just say Black Moon L, because someone told me that it's bad to say the actual word. It's a bad energy. I don't know if I believe them, but I'm just not gonna say it. So with Black Moon, yeah, like that's kind of like your lowest energy, that like it doesn't necessarily come out. Maybe it comes out when you're like at your lowest vibe, and it would just be like, yeah, like not accepting change, not accepting someone else's word for things, and also not accepting to merge with other, right? Like that soul binding type way I've been speaking about. And Scorpio is all about that. So basically, you'll meet in this lifetime incredible partners, and you'll love them so much they'll be very fated. But being with them will require something that might not feel so comfortable, but they are the catalysts. So, but the beautiful thing about having North Node conjunct Jupiter is that that even though Scorpio can be quite difficult, that you will have such good help and luck. I think of like the partners being so helpful to this journey, and that it's completely having to do with you and kind of like, past life issues around finding your own power, finding your own power, like power, like things related to power. Well, usually no, I'm saying it inverse. Basically, like you're trying to find, like you have found your own power. Taurus is like about like personal power and values, so you have that locked down. But now it's like, how can you combine with someone else, or and it's not just like relationships. I'll get into the other part of it too, and create something greater, the synergy. So, from a different perspective, this alignment is really, it could be amazing for the arts. It could be amazing for like your life purpose, which, like just by itself, 11th house Scorpio, North Node is someone who is really meant to do things for the collective. Someone who's really, really meant to give a voice, like to have a kind of like a unique something like that gives a voice to those that don't have a voice potentially, right? Or someone who has like a very big aspirations, and whose goals are deeper than just them. Their goals are more around, in your midheavens and 11th house too. So it's like very, very much so, very much, excuse me, about like career and working with other people, right? So yeah, so your classes, this would be 10th house. Interesting. So interesting, very interesting. And then it's interesting. It's interesting. Well, I'll make you think interesting, because then the sun and moon would probably be in the 9th house. So that would be speaking of like really like, I like to give like a little bit of classes also. But we'll talk about that in a sec. I want to finish kind of what I'm saying with this. But overall, like, there's lots of like when you find the right groups of friends, associations, organizations, whatever it is where you're working in a group, that's when you benefit the most. What am I saying? Sorry. I was saying when you find ones that you connect with on that scorpionic like real deep level, like you with Pluto there, you want to be a part. You need to be a part of groups, because in past lives you've been conditioned in a certain way, and you're trying to undo past life conditioning. And that conditioning has come through groups you were a part of in the past life. Look, South Node in Taurus. That's a very like kind of I'm like using weird words, matrixy. It's a very like kind of it's basically showing that like you were very like kind of in the like living in the material world, living not really living in the world of spirit. And Scorpio being such a spiritual sign, like you're making that move. And Pluto in 11th house, which is not an inner planet, it's an outer planet, so it's more about karma and than something like really psychological. I think of that as someone who was led astray by friends or groups or organizations they're a part of in past lives, and now it's extremely important for them to find groups of that sort or whatever it might be, friend group, like I just said, that help them undo conditioning. So it's like when you're like with friends or like a part of something or like a company, organization, whatever, the question you need to ask yourself is, how is this, like, to what degree is this helping me out as an individual? Because 11th house is Aquarius. That's about individualism, finding yourself, right? To what extent? Because in your North Node is 11th house, you're really meant to find yourself as an individual, and the path is through that Scorpio deep dive into your shadow, and then after that, through adventures in the world, finding ultimate truth, and then putting that into your career, and then finding other people or situation people or just whatever it might be, who connect with you on that level and that you can work with. So yeah, it really is like a huge part of your chart is accepting change. And then like with the groups, as I was cleaning my sentence, it's about like if they push you towards more kind of just like conditioning, like you need groups where you can be your unique self, where you can like be eccentric, be different, like just really like learn about yourself, be your authentic self. That's the word I was looking for. And not have and if like so like the question is like, like to whatever extent a group helps you in that individualization process, that's a good group. And to whatever extent it pushes that away, it's a negative group. So stuff to think about there. But yeah, overall you'll have lots of luck with Jupiter, lots of karma, North Node, like it'll be very karmic, not just for lovers, but also like your friends and any organization or group that you're a part of, and also your goals. Like when I say goals, I'm talking like big picture goals. And yeah, you could be someone Venus 11th house in Scorpio. who finds their lover at work, maybe 10th house in Placidus, and in Placidus 10th house, it's very, very good for career, and it gives very good working conditions usually, and it's usually quite good for for success. Also, Mercury, the planet of communication, it's an inner planet, so it rules how we think, how we talk. Being in Scorpio and close to the midheaven, conjunct the midheaven, that speaks to, when people have that, it means that they have the potential to have two careers or switch up careers, or have like I always say, like the passion, right? Like maybe let's say you're like an astrologer in training, but then you worked like a 9-to-5 job, like the ability to have like the passion and the moneymaker, and one day turn the passion into the moneymaker. I wonder if that resonates with you. But that's kind of like, but also, having Mercury on the midheaven could, it's very like anything that involves you speaking, like any kind of like career that involves you, but it's in Scorpio, so it's not like Gemini, like sales, like for example, like where you just talk blah 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 blah. Like there still should be a very big level of depth to it. And with the Scorpio midheaven, you're gonna want to acquire, Scorpio midheaven. I always think that they tend to want to, like some of them really really want to become powerful through their career. It just depends how you define power. So okay, so then so let's zoom this back a little bit. So the moon, right? So back to ground one. I want to kind of take you around a karmic loop for a second and bring you back. So yeah, like Libra moons aside, the whole codependency thing comes from a need to be in relationships, right? Like a need to feel partnership, to have a partnership, because sometimes they can have difficulty understanding themselves because it's really 7th house without having that mirror of other, right? That other side of the balance. So Libra moons, yeah, they are very social. They love to have like a large, expansive friend group that they can connect with on a number of different subjects, and it's an air sign, so it's very, very, very social. It's ruled by Venus, so there's an emotional need, like I'm sure you're where you live there, there's a need for cleanliness, more beauty, like beauty. You have an emotional need for beauty in your surroundings, right? Libra moons, they love, typically, at least I know some males that have Libra moons that they couldn't give a shit, but females I know with Libra moons, they like, especially double Libra, like they dress very nicely. They're very elegant. They're very they're very tapped into society, into like trends. Not always, but a lot of times. And especially Capricorn rising would encourage that too, because Capricorn rising is quite it's quite traditional. It's quite traditional. And yeah, like overall, with that placement, with that kind of dual placement, the big question here is that, okay, so yes, like it's in the 10th house in whole signs, but it's in the 9th house in Placidus. So I want to give you both definitions, and you can tell me, and I know that they're both going to resonate, but because it's kind of just how it works. But let's kind of speak. So having sun and moon in the 9th house in Placidus, right? It creates kind of like a Sagittarian energy to the person, where they, like, Sagittarius is about like traveling. It's about finding, I always think about like through physical or metaphysical travels, metaphoric travels, right? Whether it's like reading books, learning different philosophies, whatever, about finding higher truth, right? So in that, from that Placidus point of view, it's like there would be like an emotional need for that. So someone who who wants to experience lots of different cultures, lots of different worldviews, speak to people from all over, and kind of have that built in. Now, when we speak about the 10th house, like in whole signs, it makes the career in the Dharma. No, I hate when I don't like saying hate either. I dislike when I call it career. It's about Dharma, like life purpose. That becomes really, really important. So, I think my camera just went out, but it's still sharing, isn't it? I have to hit stop share. Okay, share screen. Okay, we're good. So, yeah, it just makes one's dharma extremely important. Like, what they're here to do. A lot of times that is career in this modern day. And it's where you're meant to shine. So I would say, either way, like there's definitely a need to go out in the world and to investigate and to figure out what is higher truth, especially the Scorpio part, like investigate within yourself and then I guess investigate in the outer world. What is the highest truth? And then base your career as your Scorpio midheaven, right? Off like what you deem to be most important. So with in Placidus with the 9th house, it's like it's like that person, the adventurer, the great adventurer who likes to go from place to place, who wants to have friends wherever they live, that are from different places, and especially with all the 11th house, be part of different diverse groups, so stuff like that. And yeah, having them together, just I know I said it before kind of, but it just creates an energy where like I always say, it's like if you were a ship and there are two pilots, one's your sun, one's your moon, they would both be in complete agreement to what direction your life is going. So it creates that kind of a sort of stability. And also it's just very, very good for popularity, especially as a Libra, so yeah. Then the Capricorn rising, so there it's 3 cardinals for your big 3. So that is self-starting energy, boss energy. And basically Cap risings, like, because they have Scorpio midheavens, they sometimes people like mistake them for Scorpio. And I was just telling someone, or Haley, her, if you see my lives, she's the girl at my moon girl readings that I'm doing. Basically, like we're doing like a podcast through IG Live. That's what's becoming, but it's just lives for now. But it's essentially a podcast. And yeah, so and Jesse lost his mind. Yeah, Capricorn. So it makes your chart ruled by Saturn. I did lose what I was gonna say, but I jumped on something else. It comes back to me. So Saturn rules your chart. So Capricorn risings, they're very, very hardworking, and they are like very, very capable. And the fact that it's double cardinal. Oh yeah, I remember what I was talking about. So like yeah, I was just talking to her about kind of how, like, it's I'm just gonna say it's kind of like a lot of people consider Capricorn risings sexy, like Scorpio risings too, because there's kind of like this like dark, stoic mysteriousness to them, you know? And because like it's Scorpio midheaven's like what, you know, it's also, it's like, it's how you're seen on like social media and like in the big world, you know, like if you were like a famous person, for example, um, you're like people would see your midheaven more, right? Or just like anyone who follows you on social media, they see more your midheaven than like your ascendant. It's only when they meet you or get to talk to you like live that they see that part, right? But yeah, the Capricorn ascendant can be very, very responsible and very, very traditional. And there's another, you know, hardworking. You know, they have to endure like lots of early setbacks. But what happens is that when the Saturn turn comes, which for you is in about, let me think, that's me. It's really soon. Um, but yeah, basically, like, you know, when your Saturn return does come, you will be just like your life will be completely transformed because like all this, like the hard work that you've had to endure, like the setbacks that come up, and you're like, what the fuck? Like I'm taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like those start to flow away, which is beautiful. And you're still stuck with that energy, um, the very positive energy. But in your Saturn returns next year. I can't tell you a date. You'd have to get like a current astrology reading for me to like, or like I do like current astrology and Saturn return readings. I just like add in the Saturn return reading and just like a whole Saturn return chart. um uh, my brother, he's born in 93, which is interesting. I can actually look for you really quick. How about that? I'll tell you when your Saturn return is going to start. Ephemeris. Is it next year or is it retrograde? So it's 6 Pisces. I think it's next year. I think he has the same one as you, right? No, I am wrong. Ooh, damn. Okay, I see where it starts. So yeah, it is next year. I'll tell you the exact day. May 23rd. May 23rd, 2023. That's when your Saturn return starts. And let's see, 6. Let's see if retrograde's back. Okay, so let's see how long your Saturn return's gonna last. Damn, it goes all the way back to 0 to 1. Okay, what about 2024? So it will go until okay. So it's moving fast. How far back does it go? Until December 12th at 6. Yeah. Okay. So it's, I would say your Saturn return. I mean, it's really, some people say it's like really over when it like we move into Aries, which wouldn't be till what, like 2025. But I don't believe that. I believe that it will be over like, let's see like a 6. So yeah, like half of 2023, and then about, you know, by literally like by April, even by like March of 2024, like it's getting further out of, no, like yeah, like, but like by the end of April, like you're 10 degrees clear. Um, you're really feeling it less in May, but then it comes back. That doesn't go back over, so you only have one return. Some people have like two returns. But at the end of 2024, December, I guess the closest it gets. No, I'm wrong. Yeah, the closest it gets is 12 degrees, which is like still like only 6 degrees away. But it's something. That's like in November. So in November of 2024, you might feel it kind of coming back again a little bit. But yeah, really like rule of thumb is like, it usually lasts like a year-ish, a year or so. Years only hits once, so not so bad. But anyways, yeah, your chart's ruled by that, so that's gonna be a very like liberating time for you. Saturn is in your third house, so and it's in Pisces. Saturn Pisces people have like, it's a very, very karmically heavy, important lifetime. And yeah, like it's just like around like communication, expressing, being able to express yourself. So you'll feel a lot of weight lifted off your shoulders in that respect, feeling like it's easier for you to speak your truth, which obviously is an amazing thing. And that could come from like childhood stuff. So childhood, which we'll get into the moon aspects, moon square Uranus and square Neptune, which are very, very important. I want to emphasize those. But as third house, Saturn, a lot of times, where's Chiron, by the way? Virgo. There you go. Lines up perfectly. Virgo is also Mercury. So there's likely something with you. Maybe you were just like very, very deep. And you're like interested in topics that other people weren't interested in, like spirituality, like a young age or something like that. I don't even know. And even with like your 0 degree Leo Mars, like that can be like a very, you know, it can be a very raw and just like out there energy that does and says things without really thinking. And I think like your chart showing is that you lacked your sense of intelligence, your sense of like of thought process. Like you most likely questioned that at a young age. Question your own thought process. Like, am I smart? Uh, you know, and there could be insecurities that came up around that. And it's a lot of times it comes from the parents, although your son isn't really playing a huge part. It's the moon. And the moon is the mother, the sun's the father typically. But the sun still does square Neptune. So when I see this, I mean, like the it could be like some like it could be like I've seen this like with like charts of people who are adopted or who like don't know they're like real, where there's like just a level of confusion or unclarity around their parents, or people who just didn't really receive the nurturing that they needed when they're younger, in the sense that like or just like parents who were like more absent, like physically and emotionally in this case, right? And it can create a huge identity crisis where you don't really know, like, it, Neptune creates fog, right? So when it squares the moon, it creates a level of spiritual fog and uncertainty, unclarity around how one feels. And when one has the moon in Libra, they can, in square Neptune, the planet Pisces, the whole boundaries thing can really, really take on like a its own precedent and go even further than kind of how I described it. Um, so yeah, you really have to watch out for like getting scammed by people, whether it's in love or just in general. Um, and because you'll have like a distorted view of reality, and just one where it's like it's harder to see things from like a logical perspective, basically. So it's really, really important to have partners that you can reality check with, meaning you can like say like, for example, like, hey, like, this is like how I interpreted, this thing you said or this thing you did. Like, am I just, am I like, is that correct? Or am I, tripping or something? Or did I not, don't say that? Like, like just like, is it correct how, how I like did I interpret that correctly? It's called reality checking in psychology, right? Um, but what can also happen with the Neptune and the Sun is that there can be a really distorted view of self, and so there can be big issues around self-esteem and self-image, and feeling like you don't like there's this like identity crisis, right? And a lot of times that comes from having like not really a firm kind of relationship with the parents. Um, Distance, right? Because Libra can be, it's an air sign. So air moons also, though, which is another interesting part, is that having your moon in any of the three air signs, even though it's, the relationship oriented one, tends to make people process emotions in a very different way than like for example, like a Cancer moon or a Pisces moon or even a Taurus moon. Like they tend to kind of like not really feel things like in the moment, but the fact that Neptune's there pushes that away. So it gives you a lot more empathy and compassion than the typical person with that placement with the moon in Libra has. But sometimes it can feel like it's too much empathy. Like you feel like you're picking up on everything, right? Like if you're like, and it can create people who become uh who just want to hide from the world because they just feel like their psychic, like just like their psychic walls are just constantly threatened. So that's goes back to the boundaries thing about picking the right partners, the right surroundings, um so that you don't feel like that, so that you're sure. So that's very important for you, is to have partners that don't have negative energy and to have people around you that don't have negative energy. Obviously, you can't avoid some of them, hashtag family, but like, it's important not to, it's important to know that like, your emotions will be very impacted by your surroundings, and that because of that, you'll probably be someone, even as a Libra, who needs to spend a lot of alone time to recharge your batteries. Even though your moon is in the social sign of Libra, so usually your moon's like they recharge. So it'd be a mix of the two, which would be like the split I was talking about earlier. There's another split. So yeah, learning to like to handle that empathy is very, very important. Now there's also rebellious, and that comes from like learning about your own triggers, right? Which is the whole Scorpio part of your chart. And then there's the whole rebellious part. With the Uranus square moon, it can create a kind of person who sometimes can go too far in terms of like trying to how do I say it? Like too far in terms of like trying to like be the rebel, be the one that's different. And also it can create lots of like a lot of emotional instability, um, for sure. And like real ups and downs on the emotional level. Real ups and downs. Like very, very apparent and evident and just obvious, like out of nowhere ups and downs. Um hmm. And yeah, so really important to learn grounding, to tap into that that Capricorn rising, that South Node in Taurus, and to ground yourself, to have daily practices that help ground you, and to learn energy protection techniques. And yeah. So with that aside, Mars, like I said, 0 degrees Leo. It's new energy. It kind of think of it like it's like a baby energy, a baby Mars in Leo, which is a very strong Mars sign, might I add. And it has a nice trine with Pluto. So sports, you could be like very athletic or someone that really, really benefits through sports. With that said, it's not like a difficult aspect. You're lucky it's not a square. So you can really, really, really benefit from anything like physical. It's also very, very sexual, and it's also very, very good for leadership. Um, but yeah, Mars and Leo, like at 0 degrees, like they can sometimes just like do things, be very impulsive. So you have to watch out for that impulsivity, essentially. But it's in the eighth house, which I like a lot, which it's even further eighth house in Scorpio. So it's even further emphasis in like about this like push towards the esoteric, this push towards the death rebirth transformation of yourself. So you will find in your life that and you might be someone that wants to like move to different places or live in different places. Um, I was just talking to a client earlier about this. Because basically you might really easily outgrow other people. And if you stay where you grow up, sometimes it can create like a bizarre energy where it's like awkward, where like imagine like you outgrow someone and they're kind of expecting the old version of Sah-RA, but you're just like completely different and they're still the same. And that's very, very common with that alignment with Mars in the eighth house. Also, it gives you like it's very sexual. Another like I'm just gonna say it, very sexual placement. Mars in the eighth house, and Leo in a fire sign. So that'll be another necessity for a partner to match that level. And also, there can be some drama. It's also a very creative placement, but really it pushes one into the esoteric. It pushes one into a spiritual side of life, into the, it's a further push that's needed. Like you're getting so many like karmic pushes. It's so interesting. Into like this kind of side of life. It's very interesting to me. It's like really the cosmos really want you to dive into the sign Scorpio. So learning what I would like tell you to do is to read a lot about Scorpio, even if you're a Libra, and really learn about what's the high and what's the low vibe of Scorpio and understand the difference. And then enact that in your own life. Because the North Node in Scorpio, um, that's it's highlighted so much. But you have so many psychic placements, like Jupiter in Scorpio, able to really see through other people. It's a beautiful one for that. It's a very mystical placement. Even all the Scorpio planets are. The Mercury, you're able to like really dive deep into information and almost gain power and speak in a very powerful way. It is squaring Mars, so you might get into some heated discussions that might even land you in some trouble from time to time. But overall, that placement with Mercury and Scorpio is a good one because it makes someone intelligent in the sense that there's no bullshit. And 11th house Mercury, you'll really like to talk. You'll like to have a career where you talk, where you use your mind a lot and dig deep. Maybe something like research. Or maybe something very spiritual, like Scorpio, like as we know, is very, very spiritual. So yeah. More on love stuff. Juno is in Scorpio, so you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna be very attracted to someone who is also they don't necessarily, like when I say on a spiritual journey, I mean someone who is self-reflective, someone who is not like who's helping you move towards your north node, basically, right? Someone who isn't kind of hindering that need for change. So it has to be someone who kind of pushes you in a sense, not a bad sense, but who kind of, like challenges you, and maybe they naturally have that within themselves. Maybe they have some Scorpio in their chart. Maybe they have some 8th house in their chart. So and then with the moon in Libra, you're also that's the split I'm talking about, where there's that need for that intensity and that depth and all that, but also that need for that real peace, quiet, balance. Like relationships where everything is equitable, right? There's definitely you definitely don't want something that's unfair, because Libra is very fair, right? So when it has relationships, it expects its partners to also be very fair. And when there's an energy that is not fair, well, Libra fucking hates it. And Moon in Libra especially. So yeah, I just have to say with the double Libra, there's just a big need to not allow yourself to get walked over. And to move into that high Scorpio energy that is so that doesn't take shit, and that says things how they are, not afraid of controversy, and understanding that Libra, that shadow Libra part might want to run away from it, but that it's necessary sometimes, especially when dealing with conflict and things of that nature. So I just wanted to kind of emphasize that a little bit further. And yeah, having Neptune and Uranus in the first house is interesting. But I want to just see really quickly. Because we're on with love. So yeah, there's definitely going to be, and also like Mars in Leo, Mars and Leo people need someone fun. They need to be able to express their inner child in every aspect of life, love, whatever. So that's of extreme importance. And descendant in Scorpio in Cancer, I might as well just turn my camera on. Because I'm just like staring at the computer, so it's like, what's the point? Where'd it go? Okay. So yeah, descendant in Cancer, it's like you're looking for someone who's in touch with their emotions, simply put. And maybe something more traditional. Because I don't see with your Venus, I see very positive aspects. Having Venus and Jupiter together is like amazing for popularity. Whatever house, I made a post before. A post. Here's right as I put my camera on. We have a little Cancer. Let's see if you guys have anything in common. If there's any synchronicity, because let's see, Esme, anything? Anything? You have your Aries and Mars. She has hers in Leo. And you're a Cancer. She's Libra. She's Sag Moon. You're Sag Moon. She's a Libra Moon. You guys have nothing in common. She has stuff in common with Mika and Felix. What do you think about that, Esme? Tell me the truth through your eyes. Say something. What the fuck? The thing just happened that I told you I didn't want to happen. Where the podcast from some random tab on my computer plays and said I was 32 going on 34 somehow. That was weird. What the fuck does that mean? So yeah. Yeah. So basically, I think you understand, like with the love, like there's a deep need for you to dive into your emotions. There's a deep need for you to take emotional risks. So a partner, slash group, but like we're talking about partners that helps, that is good. One that doesn't is bad. You want to have it in, like you want to have you'll also like want to have like a traveling buddy a learning buddy, and a lover. Obviously a lover, but like someone who has similar values to you. And when it's all in 11th house, it's very humanitarian. It's about the collective and helping people who might not have, you know, like it's very, 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 very much about being there for your friends, but also being there for humanity as your friends. And you might even feel like your friends are your family. But I'm very curious in the follow up to hear, about the parent stuff, because that stuff seems a little bit foggy to me. Like, and which is ironic because Neptune is fog. But at least with the moon square Neptune, there's always a level of a distorted reality and a confusion that can kind of enter the emotions and make people think that this is what's happening when this is what's happening. And the Uranus can create kind of like a instability, like an up and down emotional life. All right, let's see something. Search back for a little bit. So So, 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 yeah, like Uranus and Neptune the first, or I already said Saturn. I say Jupiter. Jupiter 11th, really, really good. Jupiter 11th is very, very good for money. It's also very, very good for popularity and friends. And like, I have it there too in Plastis. And the way I describe it is like regardless of where I move, I always have been so lucky, quote unquote, lucky, right? Quotes, because it's not luck, it's karma. When it comes to like meeting the right people, you know? And it's kind of similar with you. Like you can move to a whole new country and count that you would and count on just like 1 second. Like meeting friends and meeting people who are like genuine connections that you have genuine connections with. So it's very nice. And Neptune in the first house is a beautiful placement. Because I think what it does is that it makes you really want to imprint your dream life into your identity. So whatever your imagination is about, like whatever you dream about, like little dreams, it's about implementing them into your personality, your outer personality. And even though they're like further away from the ascendant, 20 degrees away, it doesn't matter. You still, and with Uranus there too, you still, in your outer personality want to exhibit mysticism, high spirituality, compassion, imagination. And with Uranus, um, just being your own person, individualism, which is like another part of what your North Node is asking you. So besides just being on the Taurus Scorpio axis, it's also on the Leo Aquarius axis, right? 5 is Leo, 11 is Scorpio or Aquarius. So that makes Uranus activated, and in that case, and it's square your moon, so it could be the case that you're trying to break away from family conditioning, very probable. It could be religious because you have Chiron in the 9th house in Virgo, so there could be something around religion being forced down your throat or something like that. And you just really wanting to find your own path in that sense. And let's see. Yeah, like just like really having like an authentic, like this is me, not the conditioned, because like Capricorn risings can be a little bit like they can present themselves like they have so much responsibility. Like people like see them and they just ooze like I always say this to every Capricorn rising. If you're in a job interview, right, and it's 1 degree, which is the Aries degree, so it adds even more like firepower, that kind of firepower and assertiveness to that Capricorn energy. Like let's say you're in an interview, you're exactly as qualified, you and the 3 candidates. The Capricorn rising is getting the job. Just the way it is. So yeah, Capricorn risings, they really really start to thrive. Like the Saturn return is very a huge part of their life. That's why I would suggest in the next I don't know. I mean, it starts, I told you, like next, was it May? Getting like a current astrology slash, return reading. Also, happy early birthday. Again, maybe this is like a little early birthday present. Maybe that was part of this whole thing of you randomly getting selected. I don't know if I'll do that again. That was just like me being random as fuck. I have so many family readings to do, and I'm just like, not. I don't know. I need to be in the right headspace to do like a 3 to 4 hour reading that requires research and stuff before. So I just like I don't know what birth charts. Um. So yeah, like just like Uranus first house people, it gives your ascendant, even though it's Capricorn, like a kind of you're trying to like implement your dream life into your everyday life, into your personality, but also your like the things that make you as an individual. Like like I said, your North Node, where you're trying to go away from being a little bit me centered, which I have this too. It's a weird laugh. To being we centered. So it's from me to we. And a lot of the catalyst is relationships. So we see this puzzle. But yeah, definitely like whatever your career is, whatever your dharma is, it's very, very, very important. So lots of things going on. So okay, I should just no, let's not do that. Let's just stop share. Let's do this. Okay. So here I am. Basically, I talk about this, talk about that, talk about that, talk about that, talk about that, talk about that. My cat's making me throw. Where's your toy, Esme? She's making me play fetch with her. Where's your toy? Is it underneath you? You forgot it. Go get your toy, Esme. Go get your mouse. Go get your mouse. Okay. Yeah, so you can feel like Chiron ninth house, and this could speak to like this the stuff around communication and feeling like kind of shut down for your own thought process and stuff. It could be from your Chiron ninth house where you might have felt like rejected for your own belief systems early on. And you really want to like go and find your own philosophy. And then you can become like a teacher of higher knowledge. And then also the Virgo Chiron, there's like a strong link between emotional problems and physical. And sometimes like a lot of Libra moons, there can be like a fear of emotions, of feeling the emotions, especially with the square to Neptune, feeling them too intensely. So yeah. So it's like health and like physical health, having that routine dialed down is very, very important. And then let's see. Let's see what fixed stars are popping here. or even your part of fortune is very close to your ascendant. So, you really feel your best like in your flow state when you're really going with the flow, like being your own person in life, when you're really like adventurous, like a pioneer of your own self, of your own independence. And also when you're developing that spiritual relationship with yourself. And also with Capricorn, it's like um experiencing lots of joy when you're really building like that sense of like kind of like really going towards that dharma, um and in that inner worth, like really like that real deep inner worth that relates to the shadow work. And it's very independent, which the Libra is the opposite of this, right? So it's like that mix between not being not being too codependent, not being too like independent. Like I won't like compromise at all. It's finding the balance. Um, yeah, there's a big need to like master emotional insecurities, as I mentioned. So okay, let's see. Full disclosure, I am using Swedish chewing tobacco, not the gross American kind. At the moment, I am using that. Yes, I am. I admit my things that I do. Vertex 8th house, Leo. You'll experience lots. Your doorway of higher awareness will be through, like I said, very intense, uh, scorpionic experiences. Um, Usually of the romantic sort, and in Leo, you can experience a lot of joy through children, for expressing your inner child, and through having relationships where you're able to express that, and through your own creativity. Like if you have any creative hobby or pursuit, like that's very, very important. Okay, stars and asteroids. So, okay, let's see what I see here. Okay, Lilith on your ascendant. Interesting, like the astro Lilith. So that's like no bullshit, like the woman who just does not take shit from anyone kind of energy. I love it. Um, yeah, it's like I don't want to say feminist because that gets like a weird rap these days, but just the way that it's interpreted in mainstream society, but just like woman who's not down to put up with like the patriarchal BS. Okay, let's see over here. Okay, so thank God that you missed out on a lot of the very difficult bad Scorpio big stars. Okay. hmm Juno on your midheaven could indicate that like yeah, like relationships are playing a huge part of your career and your outer personality, or not your like your dharma. So once again, another like 15th clue of these like life-changing callous relationships. And let's see what's this. Okay, let's pull up. Okay, I need to look at something. I'm gonna spit a lot. So okay, so Sappho in Mars is like a love warrior. Um, it kind of can lend like a masculine air to females. It's like James Bond energy. I don't know, which can be sexy. And then Nessus on the Venus. It's like it can attract like very like um sexually obsessive men. But then the fact that you have Jupiter there, that minimizes that impact, right? So the whole key is to like use your mind in relationships, and take your time with, who you choose, because it gives you like a real magnetic kind of appeal. And was that everything I saw for? Lust conjunct the South Node. Wow, interesting. So maybe you were like a temptress in past lives, a Taurus being this beautiful sign. Maybe you just like had this ability to just, and you probably still do, to just really attract very easily, which I've seen that with 3 different love asteroids, because those are like the main ones that are showing up. I don't see what name with your sun, your moon, midheaven at 9. So 9 Scorpio, 1 Capricorn. Let's look at my list. It's not working. Okay, so nothing there. And what is this? Spiculum? Never heard of that one. Let's see if there's any information on it. And there's not. Yeah, just adventurous. It can have issues with the eyes, like with vision. So yeah, it could be like either like psychological, like seeing things clearly with the Neptune, or like actual physical eyesight. So it's a big need to like dive deep into the real truth of the human psyche and your own psyche. So very interesting. I think we've covered everything. Where am I at time-wise? Probably way over what I like to, no, 90 minutes. So yeah, that's about it. Hope you're happy. Is it would have been probably what, end of October, maybe even in December, November. I mean, that you normally receive this. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I would definitely suggest adding a current astrology Saturn return reading to that, to the follow-up. It's up to you. Or you have the follow-up already. So usually it's like, I forget, I think 280 or 290 I charge for like the current plus the Saturn. But I'd be happy to do it for 230 for adding that one. So let me know. Thank you so much, and speak soon. All right. Bye, Sah-RA.